So hello guys, welcome back to my channel, and for the third time on my channel I have with me the 2023 Ford Territory Titanium Plus. So if you want a more detailed review of the interior, so here's part 1. The links will be somewhere there in the description or somewhere here above. And I did a 2022 update, that's the part 2, that they removed some of the features here and there, but I couldn't pass the opportunity of doing a review of this again because I had this for the whole weekend. So I'd like to thank Miss Tiffany, Ford Auto Hub Group, for making this review possible, and to the folks behind this camera. Yes, I have a fully geared up team for once today. So you may follow Yellow Box Shooter. Their Instagram link will be in the description down below. So I had this since yesterday, but I couldn't shoot it whatsoever because I was part of a kart race. Yeah, I did my first ever race. My body is still sore, but thank God I have this car with me because it's one of the nicest rides I've experienced so far on my channel. Yes, I'm already claiming it. So what we have here in front again is the usual here territory here and there. You have LED lights all around. You have a gloss black and with little chrome here on the grille. Ground clearance is still the same as with all the territories as I mentioned. But one thing I found out with the ground clearance, it fits my garage. I live in a really extreme garage with an uphill. It goes up there with ease. And surprisingly, I don't remember this from my previous 2 reviews with this territory. So you have now Goodyear Assurance tires. They are 235, 50, and 18 series tires. So I didn't hear any road noise with these tires whatsoever. So good start again with this territory. And few more things that I discovered. So you have a 360-degree cam here. I know I did a drive around Green Hills in my first review last year. I found the camera and the guidelines for the reverse camera and the 360-degree camera itself very, very good. It's probably one of the best ones in its class. So here on the side profile, it's your usual territory again, and your usual general crossovers that we see today. Normal cladding here, it's not all the way here, unlike some of the crossovers. You have chrome here on the side, the door handles, and a nice roof rail over here. So I don't usually mention this much on my channel, and with the territory reviews, this has smart keyless entry and auto folding mirrors. So a little bit delayed, but it still works. And again, let's talk about this. So open the hood up of this Ford Territory Titanium Plus. Remember, so what we have here is still the usual 1.5 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that produces 141 horsepower and 225 Newton meters of torque. And like what I said in my first review, this is the first ever CVT that Ford brought here to the Philippines. So I have a lot to talk about when we get to drive this. So here now at the rear of the Ford Territory Titanium Plus, this is probably my favorite part of the Territory because when you look from it at the back, it kind of gives it a wide body look, as you can see here with the wheel arches itself. So it's a little bit of sporty character too with this Ford Territory. And one honest thought I noticed with this particular demo unit, there's a little bit of whack fitment here. So this one is perfectly aligned with the tailgate and the bumper. And then look at this, it's a little bit wider here than usual. But that's the only defect I found with this specific Territory. So like before, you have plastic skid plate here and then fake exhaust. Oh, yeah, fake exhaust pipe, and the real ones are just under here. Then you have your reverse camera here, Territory badge, and open the boot up. My complaint with the first 2 reviews is that you don't have an electronic tailgate, but it's fine, I guess. So as you can see, this is my gear. Yeah, all my gears just stashed here because I'm using someone else's equipment. Anyway, so open the boot up. So you have a total of 420 liters. As you can see, perfectly fits my gear with ease. And pretty simple layout here, and as well as you can see, the load lip's not that high, so getting stuff in and out won't be such of an issue. Then underneath, space every spare tire, and then finally when you fold all of the seats down, you have a total of 1,120 liters, which is probably on par with this compact crossover competition. So that's about it with the exterior and the engine of the Ford Territory. I'll show you the interior. Closing this down is pretty heavy too. So this is the interior now of the Ford Territory Titanium Plus. Solid as ever. Start it up, it's kind of hot here. So having this now for the entire weekend, so pretty underrated with this Ford Territory is the air conditioning. Like, the cabin gets cold really fast. You may bash me in the comments if you want. This is probably the coldest I experienced so far in a crossover, the regular crossovers. Let's not talk about the premium luxury ones. So here in the door card, I love the angled window switches here. You have false wood trim here on the door and over here in the dashboard too. There's a lot of gloss black materials here and there and more chrome bits here. But I don't mind this part with the center console is because the buttons are not gloss black itself. So makes up for it at least. You're not going to be touching most of that anyway. But although, as you can see, the sun here, yeah, you can see a lot of dust here already with this gloss black material here. And as well, another special thing, you have a panoramic sunroof here. Stop that because it's taking a while. So having this now for the entire weekend, I've still to this day, this is probably one of my favorite infotainment systems because of this quad view setup. And I finally got to use Android Auto too. It's your standard Android Auto. It is pretty good too. So steering wheel, yeah, it's leather, more on the durable side of things. You have your buttons for your instrument cluster here in the middle, and then volume and phone connectivity buttons for the infotainment system. And as well, a little bit weird, but I'm used to it nowadays. The engine stop button is here on the left. But at least there are no blank buttons here whatsoever. It is completely fine. And then you have your air conditioning controls here in the center. Oh yeah, like what I said in the 2022 Ford Territory update, there are sadly no more ventilated seats, no more wireless charging pad, but you still have a pad here nonetheless, 12-volt socket, 2 USB ports, one for connecting for the infotainment system, and then one for solely for charging. Then the glove box, okay, pretty good. I mean, oh, that's a leather manual. Okay, that's the first time I saw one. And then the seats here, yeah, this leather, not much on the sportier side compared with its competition, not much bolstering, but it's so comfortable to sit here nevertheless. It is probably one of the best cabins I've tried out to. So as well, here you have one cup holder, fits my special water jug perfectly. Oh yeah, speaking of Ford BGC, I keep forgetting to mention this. So if you want to buy any special editions of this Ford Territory, there's a stealth model available at Ford Auto Hub BGC and Ford Otis Manila. And let's not forget, if you want to buy a Ford Territory, you may contact Miss Lai. Her contact details will be right here. That's the Ford Territory Stealth, by the way. And another nice thing now with this Ford Territory, there's another update. So if you avail in any Auto Hub dealers in Manila or in BGC, you have now a plus 1 year warranties from Ford Auto Hub dealers. So you have now a total of 4 years. So it kinda getting me inch closer to getting one of these. Yeah, the price is still what, the same. Just flash it here on screen. I forgot the price. That's the only thing I forgot. It's still one of the best feature packed crossovers out there. Compact crossovers, let's not forget. And what else? Okay, so the console box still pretty deep. Fits a water jug just perfectly. And yeah, that's about it here in front. I'll show you the rear. So here now at the rear of the Ford Territory Titanium Plus, door tabs still sound as great as the ones in front. So here in the rear, okay, pretty simple. I mean, there's not much toys, but there's still a lot of amenities. So again, here in the door card, there's still that false wood trim here, your speaker setup. So I won't be able to play music, of course, for obvious reasons. But the speakers sound pretty average in my experience only. So here again, you have the angled window switches and then cubby spaces, bottle holders. Fits the water jug perfectly. And then you have a central armrest with 2 more cup holders. Okay, fits the thin one perfectly too. So as well, you have 2 map pockets here on each side, 2 air conditioning vents, and a sole USB port here in the middle. I mean, it's just one, but my mom was so happy that she was able to charge my phone before I did the shoot. So if I sit here in the middle too, transmission tunnels like what, only small, and you can simply put your feet whatever you want. And my case will still stand like with the first 2 Territory reviews, that this is probably one of the most spacious compact crossovers in its class. I mean, look, that's my driving position, by the way. I'm 5'4", remember my headroom, infinite knee and leg room too. So despite as well with the panoramic sunroof, I think taller people might tend to struggle. So at 6 foot, I think we'll still be okay here in the rear passenger seats. So that's about it here in the interior. So that's a quick update. Remember, check out my full detailed review. The links of those will be in the description down below. So with that it, let's go for a drive. And for the second time ever, I'm gonna drive this Ford Territory. But finally having for a whole weekend, there are a few things I didn't notice in my first review because I only drove it around in the Green Hills area. But here, driving it around in Quezon City, Commonwealth, SM North EDSA, there are things I actually like about this. So, pretty underrated too, besides the aircon with this Ford Territory, is the NVH. Like going here in the most harshest roads, EDSA, and then here to Fairview in the Commonwealth area. I mean, here, look. Low speed and rough patches of road. One of the best NVH in its class. And also being a compact crossover in its competition too. Yeah, I gotta agree, it's one of the best out there too. Surprisingly. And then what else? So, like what I said before with the driving modes, there are not much differences with the steering wheel. It's pretty light only, but again, it's not too bad. And the 360-degree camera is pretty helpful too. There are times the sensors are too sensitive, like for example, someone's in front of me or someone behind me, but it's not as sensitive as I once thought. It's pretty helpful too. So I just as well just leave it on too. And okay, like every other Ford too, I've tried out the auto hold. You have to press it twice to engage. You'll hear a hissing sound if the mic can pick it up. I also turn the auto hold off if necessary only, but I leave it on at most times. And again, driving this the whole weekend, I found the performance of this Territory pretty adequate too. I mean, here, just normal mode. Of course, it will scream a lot because I'm just leaving it in automatic mode. There's a manual mode, so thank God for that. And here, look, the comfort. Even though we have really wide tires, the tire noise is not too bad, to my surprise. It's probably as well the best, insulated, again, cabins in its class, even though this has wide tires, like with the rest of the competition. And then going back to the steering wheel, pretty light, pretty easy to drive around. And there was just one time going here in EDSA and Commonwealth, I was just relaxed like this, just driving. And I don't know why, in every Ford review I do, or when I get to drive, my hands are always here on the 9 and 3 o'clock position. So that's a habit I have, even though I have driven the ranges. I always put my hands here in this part of the steering wheel for some reason. So as well, I never tried highway driving since I was just here around in the vicinity of Metro Manila. So I did notice the fuel economy too was better than the ones before, because I know in my first ever review, the fuel economy wasn't too good. I think I was only doing 7.6 kilometers per liter, which is pretty thirsty. I mean, I know I'm doing the same thing now. So the lowest I got was actually 8.3 kilometers per liter. But around that lighter traffic, since today's a Sunday, at Commonwealth and EDSA, doing the speed limit of 60 kph, I've been averaging 9 kilometers per liter. So pretty good too for what this is. And then, another thing I discovered since I had it the whole weekend, I noticed I sit way up in this Territory. I know this is not the... okay, this is actually the lowest sitting position. Comparing with some of the SUVs and some PPVs I've tried out, I sit like alongside them. I remembered earlier, I'm beside a old Ranger. I'm already eye level with them. So I never realized how much you sit high up in this Ford Territory. And from a start, look at the performance. Horn sounds good at least. So as well, driving it around in the most harshest conditions, I noticed this Territory is much wider than I once thought, and against its competition too. But I found it really easy. The 360-degree camera, as I said, I found it really helpful, so on and so forth. This Territory is set more on the comfort side of things. It's not meant to be a sporty vehicle. Yeah, I really love this Territory. I know I wasn't a big fan of this in the early years, but now I can't believe I will consider one in the future if I had the money. But there is one thing I never done with this Ford Territory Titanium Plus, is an acceleration test. There is no official 0 to 100 time too, so I will find out myself. So sport mode, 3, 2, 1, go. Alright, that's it, one run. Oh. Okay, despite the power and torque, I know I find it adequate, but The time I did here, 14.3 seconds. Not what I expected, to be honest, but again, it's not too bad, the performance, if you're just gonna daily this. And I would buy one solely because of its comfort. And remember the additional free PMS available at Ford Auto Hub dealers. So, that concludes my review of this Ford Territory Titanium Plus. I'd like to thank everyone involved in this review, Ford BGC, Auto Hub Group, Yellow Box Shooter, who provided all the gear and who helped me in this shoot. I'd like to thank them so much. This looks professional for once. Thank you so much. And remember, you may contact me, Sly, if you want to buy a Ford Territory. And I forgot to mention, use my code here for additional freebies when buying a Ford vehicle in any Auto Hub dealer. So, hope you guys like and subscribe, and I will see you with more future car reviews and more collaborations too with Yellow Box Shooter right here. Bye-bye.